Again, I want to give you a clear definition of misogynoir because it is a fairly, I don't want to say new. I think the terminology has been around maybe about 10 years or so, but it's a term that was coined by scholar Moya Bailey. And she uses this term to describe the specific hatred, contempt, and prejudice directed at Black women. A unique intersection. It's a unique intersection, and I would say compounding of racism and misogyny that Black women experience in ways that are distinct from both white women and Black men. And so Moya Bailey describes misogynoir as the particular brand of anti-Black misogyny that Black women face, especially in media, popular culture, where racism and sexism combine to create specific forms of dehumanization. Misogynoir is not just misogyny. It is racialized misogyny. It is when anti-Blackness and sexism collide and Black women become the target. It shows up most profoundly in stereotypes, in the way society views us, and in the way our own Black men and sons view us, and in the ways that we have internalized it and begin to view ourselves as angry, unlovable, unworthy, hypersexual, undesirable. And so after generations and generations and generations of you being viewed as all of those things, you begin to internalize that, right? You begin to play the part. And so that is why when I talk about, or when I think about misogynoir, I think about it and I look at it as a deep, deep soul wounding that is inherited and it needs to be addressed. And when I mean inherited, it is something that has been passed from generation to generation to generation. And be clear, didn't just start with enslavement. You know, a lot of people think that the dynamics between Black male and female relationships became, of course, exacerbated. The separation within slavery, within the system, within after the post enslavement period, and with the child welfare laws and the social service laws and all of those things. So yes, those continue to draw the wedge, continue to exacerbate. However, it just didn't start during the period of enslavement. And so even if we go back to religious indoctrination, which there was religious indoctrination and hierarchy on the continent and on the continent of Africa and with here within in the Americas, that put women again in this sub-servitude, substandard positionality. And so I don't think that within current times we've seen Black women or women period being elevated above any social positioning of male, which speaks to patriarchy. And so I want to frame misogynoir not just as a social issue again, but as a soul wound. And then when I say a soul wound, that again makes it generational. It makes it sometimes not conscious that you are feeling this particular way, that you're experiencing this thing. So it shows up in how a man views his mother, how a son views his mother, how a son or a man sees his mother being treated or not treated at all. If there isn't a man in the household, or the boys did not see their mother in partnership, or if the boys saw their mother in very abusive partnerships. So what was being modeled in that house begins to shape and inform their views of Black women. What was never healed? What was never addressed?